John Kerry's been doing plenty of this in the past week, meeting key players in Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and in Qatar. In the Gulf, Syria and Iran dominated talks. But in Cairo, the former presidential candidate turned diplomat was talking democracy and the economy with the Egyptian government. The US has historically been the country's biggest donor, but Mr. Kerry stressed that if Egypt wanted more US help, it had to make some big political decisions, not least agreeing a $4.8 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund, something many Egyptians oppose.
Economic assistance, support for private businesses, growing Egypt's exports to the United States, investing in Egypt's people through education. There are some very specific things that we need to do, but they are only things that we can do with the same confidence that you make your choices, knowing that Egypt is going to make the right fundamental economic decisions with respect to the IMF, and that it stands ready to provide the foundation for sustainable and inclusive growth.
Shukran. Thank you.
Donations and loans from Qatar and Saudi may mean the US has less financial clout with Egypt than a couple of years ago. But might Washington need this region more than ever to help its own finances? Last week, President Obama signed off the country's so-called sequestration, $85 billion a year of cuts. And with defence likely to be hardest hit, the Middle East could be that sector's economic saviour, even if some might have qualms.
What you're seeing now is that many of the arms manufacturers from the United States wanting to do business on the Arabian Peninsula because it's really the only open market for them. You will have particular parties who will be against those sales because of the human factor. Will these weapons actually be used against those who are trying to support change or not?
The expansion of airlines like Emirates, Qatar Airways and Etihad also makes the Middle East the biggest growth market for US plane maker Boeing. And the government's Export Credit Agency, which finances deals overseas that buy up US goods and services, say Saudi Arabia and the UAE, are two of its top 5 customers.
This is a very important part of the world strategically, but it's an important part of the world economically and commercially. And as this economy in the region diversifies from being just an economy dominated by fossil fuels, we want to be a part of it. And American companies, American exports, services, engineering, infrastructure can all be a part of that.
One of the upshots of what's happened in this part of the world, the protests and the revolutions, has been that governments have come under pressure to improve things for their people. Are you benefiting from that as a country?
I think governments here are looking at projects that improve the lives of their people, improve the lives of citizens. What does that mean? It means better health care. It means more power, safer food supply. Those are things that we can export to this region.
If Mr. Kerry's itinerary is anything to go by, the Middle East and North Africa are right at the top of his agenda. And as he says farewell for now, these are issues and a region to which he'll keep returning.